Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away. Today, as you can see here, I'm going to be doing box 3 of the Agora Models release, a build the James Bond 2CV. So this little lemon coloured Citroen somewhere, I couldn't find it for a second. This is where we're up to at the moment. I keep turning these boxes around because obviously they're double-sided. But in here, as I said, all the screws that we need are already part of this build. And obviously, this is the sort of colour that we're going to be expecting. Now, today, I believe we are going to be having the floor pan and putting some of the electrics in. So this is going to be a pretty exciting day. I have got everything behind me here. Once again, if you want to get this for yourself, it's available worldwide. Put a link in the video description. You've also got the QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Just to pre-warn you, I am still finding spiders. So if you've been watching the channel the last week, I get these little nesting spiders everywhere and I have to keep going around with my vacuum cleaner to hoover them up. So if you see any, be sure to let us know. Okay, everything you can see is wrapped in these paper bags. Brilliant for the environment. And this is well, I'm guessing it's the chassis stroke floor plan. Did I say floor plan? I've got a habit of doing that as well. Chassis stroke floor pan. There you go. Looking just like that. So we don't have to assemble anything in this, but it is quite a big piece of metal here. This is what it looks like with the international unit of measure. That's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 15, this is where the electrics start. As you see, we've got lots of cables here. And then in this bag, we've got the circuit board. Now, the circuit board has lots of plugs on it, and all of these plugs are labelled with the letters. So what we're going to be doing is taking these leads here, and these do have the letters stamped on them. So you've got a D there, we've got a H there, we've got, you get the idea, an E here. So I'm going to plug all of these into the circuit board. So every lead that we plug in here, as you can see, are extension leads. So we're going to be having other leads which are going to be plugging in to this board. So when we've done that, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting this into here, and I'm going to want to put it in this way round, just like that. So the one with two is facing this one and the two vertical ones are facing the other one here. I'm holding this in with FM screws, and there was me looking for the screws. I completely forgot. I showed you this at the start. We've got them all at the start, so we don't have to worry about finding them. Did I say 2 FM? 4 FM screws we're putting in here. These are flange screws, and obviously we are going into metal, so I am putting these in oil. Excellent. So now they're in, let me just put these last plugs back in, and that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 16, what I just mentioned before about wires going into that, there's the wires. So we're going to be plugging these into the leads that they go into, and once again, these are labelled. So this is D, which will be going into D. You get the idea. And I'm going to just do this with all of the leads that we get in this stage. Now, it is worth noting that not everything is going to have a plug on it. So G doesn't, E doesn't, and F doesn't. I believe all the rest of them do. But that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, in stage 17, we're going to be starting to route the wires around the chassis there. At the moment, they're a little bit like spaghetti. So, bringing this over, I'm going to want the wires which are labelled B at the moment. So that's going to be these red, could be red, might be orange, and white wires. My colour blindness. Okay, these are going to be going through the chassis on each side here. So when I put these in, I'm going to get these into these little sections here, and ensure they're in such a way that they look like that. And then I'll do the same on the other side. And there we go. That's B done. Now these are going to get held down by these little small plastic clips here. Now these clips are going to be what puts these cables into place to stop them coming out. Now the ones I'm using first are the ones where the hole is nearer to the edge. So they go into the point just here. Hopefully you can see that on the close-up camera. I'm holding them in with GM screws. They're only holding the wire, so we don't need to over tighten these. But everywhere we see one of these smaller little indents, we're going to need to put a GM screw. There we go. That wire can't come out of that side now. Turn it over and do exactly the same thing on the other side. And there you go. They're all in. So this cable can't go anywhere, and I haven't pinched the cable anywhere with the screw. If you put a screw through this, you're going to have a bad time. So now I need the wires that are located D. Now these are, looks like green and orange, green and red perhaps. Remember, I'm colourblind, so I'm trying my best. We're going to be doing exactly the same thing and routing them through this side. So have the plug side of this going in here. And again, we're just going to be putting this through the chassis here. Just so it comes out at the end. This time we're going to be using the bigger squares and GM screws again to hold these into place. They go in such a way that they fit comfortably in here, but at the same time there is enough plastic here to stop that cable coming out. So I'll get these all in and I'll just show you where they go on this side. Excellent. So this cable's not going anywhere. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the same on the other side. Now obviously, being meticulous about wire tidying now is going to save you headaches later. And there you go. That's those routed through as well. Now on this side, I have got this detail here, which is actually going to be going into this section just there. And I'm holding it in with HM screws, just ensuring that I've got that the right way round. Takes 2 of these screws, and I'm probably going to need my bigger screwdriver actually. Another tip for you is if you're ever going to be putting plastic onto metal, don't over tighten them because you're going to break the plastic. So just hand tight. Like that. Do the same on the other side. That's perfect. And then the last thing we've got is this little detail here, which has got a keyhole pattern. Looks like this. It's actually just going to go into the end. I'm not quite sure what this is at the moment. It looks like a bracket. I need an FP screw, which is a flange screw. I'm going to be screwing this in from the other side here. And with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. That was quite an involved stage, that one. Okay, in stage 18, we're going to be starting to fit the front suspension. Wow, look at this. They've gave us quite a good quality screwdriver now. Oh my God, that's cool. Okay, let's use that and see how we get on. Now, what I'm going to need is the wheels that we had created, just like this. So we're going to need the right-hand side one first, the one that's stamped with an R. Bring this over, and I'm going to want to put this into the position just on here, kind of like that. That's how it's just sitting at the moment. We'll do the same with the one that's going to go on this side. This is the left-hand side one. So you get the idea of how kind of these are going to fit in here. And obviously we're going to want to stop them falling out. So we've got a bracket here which is going to go over the top of these. Now, for these to sit comfortably in here and stop doing what they're doing at the moment, we're going to need to lift this end up. So I've got a little couple of boxes in here I can put these on. So there you go. I'm holding that really tight just to give you an idea of how that's going to go on there. So I'm going to hold that in with BM screws. And I'm going to need 4 of these. You're going to have to keep constant pressure on this until you've got these screws in. And there you go. That's perfect. They're both in there just like that. Now, just put that to one side because I've got this box and some springs here that we're going to need to just put into the indents on each side. So one there and one there. They just need pushing down, so much so that they should hold themselves in there. And this is a clever form of suspension. This is great. because this is going to go on the top of these parts here. So as you see, these are able to go up and down, okay? But when they're in the down position, obviously what's going to restrict them now is the springs on this side. So when I put this in, they can only go so far, but that gives the suspension. That's ingenious. Okay, 3 BM screws. Obviously you will have to push down on it to get that suspension on there. What an interesting way of doing the suspension. I think that's great. And there we go. That's the suspension in place. All we've got left to do then is we've got these little brackets to go on. They're going to go on each side here. So one there and one this side over here. And they're going to be held on with LM screws. And just do that both sides. So there you go. That's how that's looking at the moment. Okay, now we're going to be putting another part of the car on now. And that is the fender that we have created here. Quite simply, it's going to be sitting just on the edge, just like that there, held in from the underside with CP screws. We just need a couple of these. Perfect. So there you go. That's the fender on. And that's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 19 here, we've got the rear left axle looking just like that. We don't actually do any assembly in this stage. This is mirroring what we've got here. So I'm guessing we're actually going to start the front ones now. Which means stage 20. Again, there's no assembly, but we do have the tyre looking like that. And then stage 21, we're going to start building the wheel. So I am going to need to soak this wheel in some hot water. I think I am anyway. I'm probably just going to drop it in for a little second. I don't think it's going to need too much. What looked easy then wasn't. Okay, we've just got this little... Is this a brake disc? I don't know what this is. I think this might be a brake disc, which is going to go in this side, which is the indented side. And then we just get to put this in here like this. And I'm going to hold it in with an MM screw. Now, this is a big flange screw, so I'm going to use a screwdriver that they provide and see how we get on with this. There you go. And that is another wheel on the car. Now, to ensure that you've got this on properly, what you want to do is once the wheel's on, if you pull the tyre like this, pull it around just to ensure that you are definitely inside the lips on each side. So look at that side there, and then look at this side just here. So all the way in. Now this one, as you can see, is just slightly off there, so I just need to make sure that's under. There you go. Perfect. And that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 22, we're going to fit the rear suspension. So bringing this over, we've got springs again, which are just going to go in here like that. Now, I'm turning it around because we're actually working on this side here. Now, the wheel we've just created is actually going to be going on top this time, on top of this section, like that. And I'm going to be keeping it in place by putting a JM screw in there. Now, again, this is a flange screw. I have put some oil on this. There you go. And that's in place there. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now, these parts we don't actually put in just yet. I'm guessing we're going to be making the other wheel. So stage 23, we're actually going to be fitting the right suspension. We're not actually putting the wheel on. Is that right? We're putting this on without the wheel. Interesting. Okay, same way then. We know how this is going to go. This is going to be going in here like this. And again, I'm holding it in with one of these flange screws. Perfect. So then that's in, which means now I can put this over the top, which is going to hold all of these into place. Just making sure that these are in the brackets there. So that goes over the top like that. I'm holding them in with JM screws. This time we're going to need 4 of these. I wonder why they haven't wanting us to put the other wheel on. That was a bit weird. And then just like we did last time, we've got these little clips to go in. One this side, one this side here, held in with the LM screws. So as the last screw goes in, I have to say, the suspension is really good. I can just feel the spring while I'm doing it now. Crazy. See, the simplest way of doing suspension is sometimes the best. But that's all there is to do in that stage. So the penultimate stage is stage 24, where I don't think we're doing anything because we've just got the wheel, which I'm automatically just going to be putting in hot water this time, so I'm not mucking around with that. Which means in stage 25, I'm guessing, we are building the last rim, and then once again, putting this onto the tyre. And again, let me just show you what I'm doing. I'm pulling up on the tyre and pinching at the same time, so I can ensure that I get this both sides of here when I put this in. So once again, we're going to be pushing this into here. I'm going to put this on the car, just here. Have an MM screw ready, and this time I'm going to use the screwdriver that they provide. To get this wheel into place. And with that in, we've got all four wheels onto the Citroen. And this is how it's looking at the moment. Pretty cool, huh? We've still got to put, obviously, the steering in it. But these are fixed at the back. They are able to turn. Pretty cool. Quite a bit to do in that stage. Recording time at the moment. Let me have a check of that because it feels like ages. 1 hour, 10 minutes that's taken me to do. Anyway, I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.